Great. Thank you. And our next presentation, we have Loop Industries. This is going to be Kevin O'Dowd, Vice President of Communications and Investor Relations at Loop Industry, which trades on the NASDAQ under the symbol LOOP. And with that, I'll turn it over to you, Kevin, and go ahead.
Yeah, as Sean said, he ruined my intro. I'll give him my name again. I'm O'Dowd. I'm Head of Communications and IR at Loop Industries. It's great to be here in New York at Christmas time. I spent the last 2 days in Florida. It seemed like it was a little sacrilegious being down there in December. But I'm from Boston, and I'm excited to be here today to share with you the progress and plans of our company. Give you a little background. Loop was founded back in 2014. We've invested upwards of $150 million developing, refining our technology, gone from lab scale, pilot scale, demonstration scale, to having a commercial production facility just outside of Montreal in Terrebonne, Quebec. We're launching broad scale commercialization of our technology with world-class partners. We're expanding in the Asian market with SK Group, a sustainability giant who in June of 2021 took a 10% ownership stake in Loop. And then 2 weeks ago, we broke ground on this facility in Ulsan, South Korea. Very exciting project for us. Right behind that is our partnership with Suez, large French water waste management company in France, for our European facility in Saint-Avold, France. So we'll put up the slide deck now, walk you through the presentation, then we can leave some time for questions at the end. Huge global plastic waste problem. I think everybody knows about this. A tremendous need for more recycling, more recycled content. Loop's technology is the perfect fit to help with the PET and polyester fiber segments. PET plastic, number one used plastic for packaging, polyester fiber, clothing, carpets. I don't think that gets spoken about enough. Where a water bottle and a pair of my wife's Lululemon yoga shorts are made with the same base chemicals, they're equally pollutive. And while that water bottle has become the symbol of pollution today, there's a lot more to this market than just water bottles. And that's key because Loop's technology is designed to handle all forms of PET plastic and polyester fiber waste. So what does Loop do? At the end of the day, we're a chemical manufacturer. We've developed a technology that we sell PET resin and polyester fiber back to the CPG companies, the beverage companies, the food companies, apparel companies, anyone who uses PET plastic or polyester fiber for their packaging needs or their textile needs can be a customer. Our technology breaks down waste PET plastic and polyester fiber into their base chemical building blocks or monomers. One of those is dimethyl terephthalate. The other one is monoethylene glycol. DMT starts off as crude oil. MEG starts off as nat gas. They put together during polymerization to make PET plastic and then go on to make the final product. What we do is we pick the final product, the waste product. We break the molecular chain, release them in a singular form, and then we purify it back into a brand new piece of plastic. That's how we can take old polyester carpets, Under Armour tops, my Nike Air Jordans, turn them into water bottles for customers, or vice versa. Everything we produce is 100% recycled content, food-grade plastic, certified by the FDA, Health Canada, and the European regulators. Technology highlights. Over the last 8 years, Loop has built out a technology that produces the highest quality, virgin quality PET resin and polyester fiber made from 100% recycled content. We don't blend it. It's 100% recycled, infinitely recyclable. So now packaging and textiles can be recycled an infinite amount of time. There's no degradation in quality. We remove all the colorings, all the additives, all the dyes, all the impurities. That's really what Loop's technology is built to handle. That same package can be recycled over and over again, which is very important for our customers. We're the only company that can go bottle to bottle, bottle to fiber, fiber to fiber, and fiber to bottle. No one else has that technology. And the key to the technology and our intellectual property is a low heat, no added depolymerization process. Depolymerization has been around for 60 years. It was invented back in the 60s by Eastman. It's never been commercially successful. Every attempt at depolymerization is always done at high temperature, somewhere between 260 and 300 degrees centigrade. To be able to break apart the plastic, get to the molecular chain, Loop's technology does that at 80 degrees Celsius. And that's key when you're talking about recycling, because the incoming material to our process is basically garbage. And you're going to have all different types of impurities there. You're going to have rocks, glass, ketchup, mustard, different type of paper, different type of plastic, buttons, zippers. And if you're using high heat or you're using high pressure, okay, you're going to get contamination. And that's key. That's what distinguishes Loop's technology to anything that's ever been done before. Upcycling allows us to take very low value feedstock. All of the feedstock that comes into our process today, it has no value. It's either destined for landfill, incineration, or even worse yet, oceans or rivers. Food safe. We have FDA, Health Canada, REACH certification in Europe for food grade plastic, and we have over 200 patents around the world. How it works, we take the waste plastic on the left side, the bottles, carpet fibers, clothing, any type of material, really, we're agnostic to the input. As long as there's PET and polyester fiber in there, we're going to be able to get that down and break it out. We're going to get the DMT and break it down. Then once they're purified back into their purest forms, we can rebuild them into a brand new piece of plastic that can go into any final product. But it's really that second step that's really the key to where our technology with that low temperature process takes place. Addressable markets for PET poly and consumption are huge. PET packaging in 2022, you were talking about a $76 billion market growing at 4%. And that's just packaging. On the flip side, polyfiber, you're looking at about a $103 billion market. If you think about all the fabrics that are coming, running shoes, apparel, upholstery, home furnishings, all that supply chain exists in Asia. That's why our partnership with SK Geocentric is so important. Loop now can bring circularity to the clothing and textile industries, working with companies like Lululemon, Nike, Inditex to be able to bring circularity for their plastic or polyfiber waste. Needless to say, there's a tremendous market for us in Asia. Government mandates driving demand. A lot of the demand for sustainability content is being driven by legislation and government mandates. Europe has basically declared war on petroleum-based products. They've introduced an EU plastics levy tax of 800 euros per ton for plastics that can't be recycled. They have a 50% recycled content and packaging mandate by 2025. Canada has zero plastic waste by 2030, 50% recycled by 2030. Other countries around the world are doing similar. Our technology is a need to be able to help these companies meet their targets and for the brand owners to achieve their commitments. There's tremendous pressure right now on the CPG companies to be able to get recycled content. And the key year is 2025. That's when a lot of these mandates kick in. So we're helping. They want to be corporate citizens. They're getting in front of the mandates, and we're helping them change the way they're thinking. So we're working lockstep with governments and the CPG companies, helping them achieve their goals. Feedstock sourcing. This is really where Loop has a tremendous advantage. Our technology allows for new PET waste streams to be recycled. Bottom line, a lot of the material that goes in our process, it can't be recycled today by everyone else. If you have a process using high heat or high pressure or your mechanical recycling, you can't use the low value feedstock, the low quality feedstock that's perfect in Loop's process, i.e. opaque plastic, clamshells, ocean plastic, all the waste from the mechanical recycling industry, carpets, clothing, all that type of material can't be recycled efficiently. It works really well in our process. An example I like to use is Europe. A lot of these plastics, they sort them out of facilities. They have no home for them. Nobody wants them. They're destined for incineration. Incineration is very expensive, creates a tremendous amount of CO2. There's an abundance of waste plastic out there today that's getting landfilled or incinerated that now can be diverted into Loop's process. And this is the very exciting part of the business for me, because it creates this entire new supply chain. We're working with companies like Suez in France, Veolia in Asia, and we're starting to get really deep into the supply chain. This is our production facility in Terrebonne, Quebec. As I mentioned before, we've built this thing out meticulously over the last 8 years. All of the design, all of the work comes from there. It's a scale production facility in industrial technology. You really have to take the time to build these things out properly, and that's what we've been able to do meticulously over the last 8 years, going from pre-lab scale, lab scale, pilot scale. We've invested over $100 million in technology. We've optimized every piece of the equipment for efficiency, operability, de-risking the scale up. Our partners, Suez and SK, have spent months at a time before they made the decision to come in and partner with us. We operate this facility 5 days a week, 12 hours a day, and I highly recommend for anybody who really wants to take a look at Loop to come up to Montreal and visit with our facility. Loop brand activations. Loop is currently servicing over 25 companies out of our facility in Terrebonne, Quebec. On the left side of the slide, you can see the first commercially produced, chemically recycled, 100% recycled content bottle that's ever been available for sale. This bottle became available for sale in South Korea last year. It was the result of a partnership between Loop and Evian, which I think is the premier water bottle in the world. I think it's worth noting that this is the first time any chemical recycle packages have been available for sale in the marketplace, not just Loop's technology, but any technology. And this was a very crucial milestone for us. And we're proud of the partnership with Evian. Also, this partnership with L'Occitane, L'Oreal, Roger Federer's On Shoes, and you'll see other partnerships be announced in 2024. These are our manufacturing facilities. This is the Infinite Loop manufacturing design. This will be built in Asia. This is the same design that will be built in Europe with our partners SK and Suez. It's the same equipment. It's the same design that's being leveraged for all of those facilities. It's a design one, build many. These are 70,000 ton per year capacity. We chose that capacity because we believe that today that's the perfect size to be able to build one of these in different countries around the world. If you go bigger than this, you'll be bringing in waste plastic from other places, other countries, and we strongly believe that in the future, plastic is not going to move as freely as it has in the past. If you go bigger than that, you're going to have supplying issues, and we feel that this technology is built to be an infrastructure play where each country will need a Loop facility to be able to recycle all of the material today that cannot be recycled. SK Geocentric, wholly owned subsidiary of SK, in June of 2021 took a 10% ownership stake in Loop at $12 a share. Their stated goal by 2027 is to be the largest plastics recycler in the world. They've invested $260 million in advanced recycling technologies. Loop is their single largest investment. The Loop and SK joint venture just started commercializing the technology or building out. We broke ground, shovels in the ground 2 weeks ago. It's an amazing partnership for us. We're leveraging SK's operations excellence, their construction, engineering, technology, knowledge. These guys run big petrochemical plants all around the world. We're leveraging all of that with them. Most importantly, we're leveraging their financial strength. All of the debt financing, all the capital needed for these facilities as far as the debt is going to be provided by SK. Loop has nothing to do with the debt. It's a 51-49 ownership stake. They have 51, we have 49. That 1% trade-off is for them providing the capital for the operations. On top of that, we get a licensing fee of 3% of revenues. That's approximately $6 million a year off $200 million estimated revenues from the facility. First facility is going to be built in Ulsan. Right behind that is Japan, Vietnam, and China. And just to talk about Asia a little bit, in the Vietnam market alone, Nike's manufacturing process in Vietnam puts out 30,000 tons of waste a year annually that has no home. That works perfect in Loop's process. Infinite Loop Asia, others being considered, Malaysia, Indonesia. There's quite a few facilities in Asia that can be built. There's a huge demand. 60% of the population is there. 70% of the global pet demand is in Asia. Tremendous amount of material that to be recycled. And I'll also say this, the Asian market is the exception to that 70,000 tons that we talk about, because there's so many places where you have density of population of 30, 40, 50 million people. First one will be built out at 70,000 tons, and then we'll ratchet up to 100 and 120,000 ton facilities. Infinite Loop France, French project, again, same design, same capacity. The site was chosen as Saint-Avold, France. This is a fantastic project supported by the French government. Project was put together through the French brand owners, Danone, L'Oreal, L'Occitane, all these companies, strong supporters of Loop. We've been working with them for a very long time. They wanted their waste to come from France, so that's how this partnership was born. Targeted economics. Not only is this good for the environment, it really helps provide a solution to the plastic waste problem, but it's economically very sound. Yeah, 70,000 metric ton output, your revenues are estimated to be between 180 and $200 million. Really depending upon where you are in the world and the price of waste PET plastic. All of our pricing formulas start off the waste PET plastic price. We're able to hedge against the ups and downs of the booms and bust cycle of the fossil fuel industry, which traditional plastics have to deal with. We don't have to deal with that because we have a much flatter curve. We're using waste PET plastic as the starting point for our formulas. We signed 5 to 10-year supply agreements with the CPG companies, fully take or pay. I'd say there's much more demand than supply for this material out there because we're the only ones that can provide that quality, that virgin quality to the customer. You'll see a lot of recycled bottles today that are gray or green or a little tint of blue. Ours are virgin quality, infinitely recycled. Long-term goals. We have a stated goal by 2030 to have 1 million metric tons of capacity through our different partnerships or fully owned facilities. I think that's a pretty attainable goal. We're looking to be able to exceed that, especially in markets such as Asia, where there's a tremendous population and demand for the product. What's great is we have global brand customers, so the customers are going to be buying from us in Quebec are the same ones that are dealing with in Europe, in Asia. Ownership, 47 million shares outstanding. There's not a big float, but a 17 million share float. My CEO owns 42%. He's never sold a share. Right behind that is SK, who owns 10%, and then Northern Private Capital 9%. So 60% between those three investors. Investment highlights, like I said, great technology, definitely unique. Low temperature give us a huge advantage, big addressable market. We have the first mover advantage in the space. We're already producing material, selling it to customers, providing it to them for marketing. So we're the only ones that have proved it out at scale, building brand value through co-marketing, co-branding, which I'll just take you back there a second. I wanted to have if you take a look at these bottles, you'll see on each and every one of these bottles the Loop logo. This is our strategy that we put out with the brand owners. Yeah, it's been an amazing journey. I've been with the company. I was 30 years on Wall Street, the last 10 of it focused on sustainability. This is a company that I visited with back in 2018 and became enamored with. And I think it's a big solution to a global problem. And I really like the circularity part of sustainability, and that's how I ended up here. So I'll open it up for questions.
Yeah, Kevin, I was wondering on the co-branding, and take the Evian bottle as an example. Have you seen consumer choice data from Evian saying that consumers are specifically choosing this? They know it's recycled plastic, and it's seeing a different sales trajectory than others, for example?
That's a great question. I don't have access to that data, but they have expressed to us that this is where the market is going. And we did all of these trials that we have run with these companies. It's very important for them, especially the millennials. They're all more sustainability. And let's face it, guys, we're in the US. When it comes to sustainability, we're the last in the queue. Europe is way ahead of us, and this is a much bigger ESG sustainable story in Europe than it is here in the US. But yes, the but I don't have access to the exact data.
You talked about the PET pricing, the raw material, and the variability there. What drives that, and do you have a sense of the long-term trends of that?
Well, is long-term trends of PET pricing?
Or just near term? I mean, what's moves it around?
The key, well, I think one of the things is oil pricing, energy prices. So when I started at Loop 2 years ago at $80 a barrel, all right, virgin PET was selling for $1,500 a ton. Our PET, recycled PET, was selling at $1,900 a ton, and we were pricing at $2,100 a ton. It's amazing that our PET trades at a premium to VPET because it's lower quality and it's not infinitely recyclable. You can do it once, you can do it twice, but then ultimately it's ending up in a landfill, getting incinerated. When we saw the spike in oil prices, VPET went to $2,500 a ton. Our PET went to $2,900 a ton, and we were at $3,100 a ton. Now it's come back down in. So yeah, we're not as much. We're gonna trade at a premium to our PET, 10 to 15%. Some people think we could trade it more because it's virgin quality. It's infinitely recyclable. And as I've mentioned, in 2025, I mean, that's the big year. That's when these government mandates really start to kick in. And it's going to be very interesting to see, what happens come that time frame.
Driving consumer demand up, you might even be able to trade at a premium.
We trade at a premium now, but but even a bigger premium.
If consumers are demanding it, they could potentially.
I think it's going to be a huge premium, but we'll see when the time comes.
Quick question on the supply chain. There are struggles people have in separating recycled from non-recycled materials, particularly in the U.S. That may be better at it in Asia or Europe. I'm not sure. So how do you ensure that you get enough? Do you need? I guess the way to ask this is: do you need the way garbage is collected and segregated by the disposal companies to change for you to secure enough material to feed your plants?
100% correct. And I think, as I mentioned, this is where Loop has a tremendous advantage. We don't need the high quality feedstock. We're using a low heat, low pressure process. We don't need the high quality feedstock that a lot of our peers do. If you're using high heat, high pressure, you're sorting, you need those clean bottles. You gotta scrub and wash them, cut the tops off, take the labeling off, the adhesive off. That's very expensive feedstock. We can get the lowest quality feedstock from our vendors, and we're working with people on the ground. In France, Suez, the large French water company, that's what they do. They're the waste management of France. They're going to provide us with the feedstock. In Asia, SK, Viola, they're going to provide us with the feedstock. So we've hooked into partners. A lot of these facilities, mechanical recyclers, whatever, they can be built, but if you can't get the feedstock, you're in trouble. That's why we've had these partnerships in place.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a great question. I think this is a 2025-26 story, right? The plant that we built up in Terrebonne, that was where we got all the learnings to build out this technology and get the partnerships with the CPG companies and with SK and with Suez. This is a 2026, 2027 story. The revenues that are generated out of that plant today are minuscule. The revenues will start to kick in when we get that first plant built, which will be by the end of 2025. It's an 18-month ramp up, 6-month commissioning. So we broke ground a few weeks ago. So you're looking at 2 years from now. Again, thank you very much, Sean, for having us. Appreciate it. And Merry Christmas to everybody.
Thank you.
Hanukkah.
Thank you very much for your time. As mentioned, if you have more questions, please connect with Tim outside.